Yokoso minasan, I'm Leo, the professional weeb, and today I'll be reacting to Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, Episode 1. It's finally here. Mob Psycho Season 2 finally started after quite a few years of waiting, and I'm actually very hyped to see what happens this time around. Because to be honest with you guys, I never bought into the hype that was Mob Psycho 100 the first season. Mob Psycho 100 the first season had some really good things, but in many aspects it kind of let me down, to be honest with you. I don't want to pretend to be extremely hyped about this show or like this is the best thing ever, because I don't think this anime is the best thing ever, but it's still one that we'll probably enjoy together. What I liked about the first season of Mob Psycho was mainly the animation and cinematography. That was the selling point for me, and I believe that the strongest point of the entire anime. Mob Psycho, the first season, had some of the best fighting scenes in anime. That's absolutely true. I will fight you over it. The animation was outstanding, to be honest. It was insanely good in the first season. But other than the animation, I was expecting more character development and more story in general, but we didn't really get that. It was more of villain of the week-esque kind of story at the beginning, and then towards the end of the first season we had some kind of story arc that was relevant, but Mob as a character never really evolved. He was still the character that we started with at the end of the season. So that was one of the things that I didn't like about it. Another thing that I did like about it, about the first season, were the support characters or the secondary characters, especially Regan. I think he is one of the greatest mentors and one of the funniest characters in the entire show. He's probably my personal favorite character. But yeah, what I'm looking for in this second season are more story relevant things, and perhaps Mob to go through some character development that I believe he definitely needs very much, that because as of right now he's quite one-dimensional and, to be honest, quite boring of a character. I understand he's a gag character, he's really powerful, he has some of the strongest psychic ability in the universe, but then again, even though this story is written by the same author as One Punch Man, Mob as a character is not Saitama, he's not the One Punch Man, he's not the gag character, he's a regular person, a human that has problems and has struggles in life. And that's what I want this season in particular to focus more. I want to learn more about him, I want him to overcome some of the troubles in his life, and obviously I want some epic fighting scenes. So with that out of the way, I believe we should just jump into it and see what this anime has to offer. Okay, so everybody, we're going to start this episode in 3, 2, 1, let's jam! Okay. So we got all the spirits. Psychics. Or fraudulent people. Scammers. At least in our world that's the case, but in Mob's world, psychic powers do exist. Okay, so he's scared because he saw a ghost. Damn. His face so simple yet. Reagan face just funny. Just the way you when you see him, you know he's an absolute scammer that only cares about money. Some form. Damn. Okay, so Mob is with him. The interaction between those two was always quite funny, the way Mob respects Regan, despite him having no powers whatsoever. Okay, was that like a Lenny face on that Scarecrow? Okay, we got a high level spirit over here. Can spirits eat though? Interesting. It's weird because he has a straw hat. He reminds me of Luffy from One Piece, but this guy eats vegetables instead of eating meat. So that's a scuffed Luffy. Damn. Okay, so he's learning something from the spirit. He's becoming stronger. That's some character development for Mob. I wonder if this will ever mean anything in the grand scheme of things, or is just an opening, an intro scene for the anime. Maybe it will matter. Okay. Yeah, the one thing that I'm wondering if Mob will like unlock some extra power because he learns to do this, or he'll figure something new out about his power. Okay, is that the end? Kinda. Is Reagan still broke? You'd expect him to have a lot of money after scamming all those people with his talents. Imagine if you actually had the power to do that in real life. It would be sick. Never mind. If it doesn't taste good, yeah, it's a wordless power. Oh, we got a new opening in the first episode. I really like the first season openings, but let's see what this second season has to offer. I actually seen the trailer, so I heard the song once, but it's my first time watching the opening. Okay. We get to see all the characters. Obviously the Kaleido effect that was present in the first opening as well. It's really cool how they arrange the characters as well in that shape. Oh. I wonder if Mob would go crazy this season. Nice. I like the way the credits are on the building. That's really cool. Not a bad opening, but to be honest, I think I prefer the first one more. But this opening did some cool things. Maybe I'll talk more about it at the end of the video. Okay. Damn. She's becoming more and more like Reagan and wants to use mob. Just leave him be. Why does everybody want to use him? Everybody depends on him instead of depending on themselves. That's kinda sad for Mob. Oh. Oh yeah, in the last season he did some really scummy things. Would Mob-kun really win? I don't see him winning this. I don't see him wanting to win to become president. She might convince him. But I think his brother would make a way better president than himself. Someone's jealous. Become school president. Probably that's... Yeah, that's... She's going to say. He looks so cool. He'll buy it. He'll definitely buy it. Is he doing 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and running 10 kilometers per day? That would be some good training. He may become really strong if he does that, you know, if you know what I mean. Yeah, this guy's not winning. Neither is this guy. Oh, so damn, that's interesting. He wants to candidate again for the position. Let's see. What kind of speech will Mob have? My bet is that he'll probably forget everything and just blank. Yeah, it's all about guts! He's going to say something stupid, I know it. Is he not saying anything? Damn. That must really suck for him. He must feel down after that. Yeah, I actually wish for Mob to be more confident in himself. I want him to grow as a character. I don't mean for him to become Mr. Confidence, if you know what I mean. Interesting. I don't think we've seen her before. Maybe as a background character or supportive character. But yeah, I think she's new for this season. I wonder if she knows about his power, because there was that organization at the end of the first season that know about him. I don't think she would just randomly fall for him like that. I think there's more to it. I think she might be even more interested in you if you told her the truth. Okay, so she's Emmy. She's going to say that she's interested in Ghost? Oh, no! She's a writer, actually. She's more normal than I expected. There has to be more to her than just a random girl who fell for him. Regan is still the best character in the show. Yeah, Mob is like a genuine nice person. But he's also really naive. Yeah, actually, that's one of his biggest weaknesses. He usually lets others lead him. Damn. Okay, so she never really liked him to start with. But I still think it was a nice experience for him to go out with a girl. There's nothing bad to that. He probably grew as a person too from all those experiences, even though they were all lies basically. But it still must hurt for him to always be deceived by others and used by others. And that's what I really hope for this season. I want him to grow more. I want him to be a little bit more confident. And to make decisions on his own. Damn, her friends are actually douches. I don't get why she's playing along with them. I don't get why she's letting them bully her. Damn, they really are scumbags. Those are like the worst kind of persons ever. The ones who try to put you down, even though they don't really have anything special about them themselves. They're like polar opposite, Mob and them. They're like on opposite sides of the spectrum when it comes to niceness, I guess. Damn. He really is a nice guy. Maybe that girl will actually fall for him for real now. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Just screw them. Stop hanging out with people like that. They won't do any good for you. People that constantly put you down. Now's the time, Mob, use your powers. But I guess he doesn't want her to see that he can do it. Oh, he's actually going to do it. I still think though that she probably had a hint that he may have superpowers or psychic powers and wanted to see if he really did. That's why she spent a week with him. I'm still not sure about this character. I mean, she seems fine so far, like, nice person. But... yeah, actually he did it. No, I don't think he did. He's so humble about his powers, even though he's so powerful. He's really humble about it. Is she going to end up writing a story about that? Okay, I guess that's it. Okay, so this is a preview. I won't watch it, and I'll see you guys in the discussion part of this video. Alright guys, so Mob Psycho 100 episode 1 from the season 2 was a slow episode. It wasn't the strongest episode, but it did its job. I believe this episode's purpose was pretty much to reintroduce us to the characters and also introduce this new character that will probably play a major role in this season. The episode did some cool things and it started some development for Mob and hinted towards some things that will probably play a role in the future, but not too much. It wasn't like a very character-driven episode. It wasn't an episode in which we got development for characters or even the story. It didn't progress that much. We're basically at the same spot that we were in the beginning. Mob as a character didn't develop in this episode, and also it wasn't an action-packed episode. We got some fighting scenes at the beginning, but yeah, it wasn't what this series is known to do. The animation was good, but it wasn't excellent in that particular fight because it wasn't a big fight to begin with. It was just a random fight with some scarecrow or plant monster thingy. Yeah, it wasn't really hype. So what we got in that particular fight is Mob starting to think outside the box. Mob as a character is quite naive, as I said in the during the episode, and he usually just believes pretty much everyone. He goes along with whatever people tell him, and a lot of people use him because he's a talented kid, despite of him not trying to show that. But in this episode, in that fight, the main thing that is interesting for me is that Mob started thinking outside the box on how to use his power. He started to think about using psychic power to like a cell level. So he has more control over the thing he wants to use his powers on. So that's interesting. That probably will eventually lead to Mob understanding maybe his power better, or even learning some new skills and new abilities that will probably play a role or be needed maybe in a fight. Because we know that in this universe Mob is really strong, but we don't know for sure that there might be a second Mob, right? There might be someone who at least is close in power to Mob. And it really wouldn't surprise me if there was a stronger or someone that knows to use his ability better than Mob. So because of that, I'm interested in how Mob will continue to develop his psychic power, and hopefully he does. I really hope this is not like one episode thing where he mentions that you can use the power in a different way than that he has never used before, and they never go back to this. I hope they do. I actually hope they go more in detail about psychic power work and how Mob will improve his abilities. Mob as a character is pretty much the same in this season that he was in the first season. He didn't change much, as I said, and he's still quite lacking, to say the least. He's not the most interesting character, but he has some good qualities. He's probably one of the most genuine characters in anime. He's just a nice dude, you know. He's someone who does good things for the sake of doing good things. He doesn't have any ulterior motive or anything like that. So I'm a big fan of that part of him, but I can't emphasize how much I want him to stand on his own ground. And he did, to be honest. He did for the first time do something like that when he showed his power to Emi, the new girl that was introduced in this anime. But still, there is room for so much more for him to grow as a person, and we know that's one of the big themes of this anime, or that was supposed to be one of the big themes of this anime, because you have the gym club basically with all the guys that want to improve their body, and Mob is part of that. So that shows that he wants to improve himself. He wants to be a better person. In this episode, he even was part of the debate, I guess. Not really a debate, but he even tried to give a speech in order to become the student council president. So Mob is definitely trying to improve himself as a person, but he still can't do it. He basically didn't say a single word during his presentation, so that shows us that he's still pretty much the same. But maybe this Emi girl, maybe she will be someone who will help him improve. Talking more about her, she's an interesting character. I said during the episode that I'm suspecting her of knowing about his power, or maybe she was sent by someone, or I don't think she just came to him because of a challenge. That might be her pretext, her excuse for doing so, but I think there's more to it. I still believe that, but you know, I might be wrong, because when Mob showed his power to her, she was genuinely surprised, and that's not something you'd expect if she suspected Mob of having such power, being capable of something like that. So maybe she's just a normal person, a nice girl who likes writing, who just lost a challenge and will be part of the cast for this season, but I still don't know. I still think that either she has some kind of powers herself, either she was sent by someone, or someone told her that Mob may be more than he seems to be, but that remains to be seen. So far, I can only judge her for what I've seen in this episode, and I like her. She is quite a normal character, and that's a nice thing to have in this anime, because most of the characters in this anime, you either have guys like Mob, who is very naive and doesn't know what he wants to do, either guys like Regan, who just want to make money, or just basically use Mob in order to gain something for themselves. So it's nice to have a character that's not really trying to use Mob, but also helping him in a way. The way I see it, this Emi girl is basically like the like Mob's gym club members. She's trying to help him improve as a person, and she will probably do so. The gym club helps him improve his body, his physical shape, but I suppose, will help him improve on maybe a social level. Maybe she will help him be a better communicator, talk better, and maybe by the end of the season, Mob will be actually able to give a speech. I don't expect him to ever be able to give like an awesome speech or something like that, but I do expect him to at least be able to communicate what he thinks better than he is able right now. Alright, so Amy was bullied, and I don't think her bullies will play any kind of role. They were basically a plot device for Mob to show his power, to showcase to Amy what his power is, and for us to see her reaction and how she interacts with that. And she did well. She didn't fall for Mob the moment she saw his power, but also I think she fell for him because he's nice, because he actually tried to help her, and not because he's powerful or something like that. So she'll probably stick around him and be a part of the major part of the season, I expect. Now, when it comes to opening, the first season opening was really good. Especially the visuals in the first opening of Mob Psycho were very strong. But this opening was honestly not quite as good as the first one. I really like the song. I think the song is great. I think the song is perhaps even better than the first song, but the animation it was not the best, to say the least. They tried to show a lot of characters, and basically it tried to emulate what the first opening did so successful, but it wasn't really able to reach the same kind of height as the first one. It's very hard to say exactly what was good in the first opening, but from a lot of things, from the color scheme used, the art style, the way the transitions between different shapes and forms, the way the characters were introduced in an original manner. I felt like in this opening that was missing. It tried to do some of the things that the first opening did, and don't get me wrong, it's not like I hate the opening or I don't like it. In fact, I actually do like it, but I wouldn't put it in like my top 50 openings of all time, or something like that. It just wasn't as good as the first one, but it's still enjoyable. Particularly the song is the strongest point of the opening, and I hope we get to hear this opening more during the show, because it's really good, especially I think in like a fighting scene, or maybe when Mob is running or something like that, an action scene. The song is really good, and I hope they use it as a soundtrack as well for the anime, not just in the beginning as the opening. When it comes to the episode, it was an average episode. It wasn't great, it wasn't bad either. It was just average for a first episode. I've seen better episodes, I've seen worse first episode, but there really hasn't been much going this episode. As I said, this first episode left us in the same position basically that we were at the beginning of the first episode, with one single exception, that we met Amy in this case. So that's pretty much the biggest thing that happened. They chose to have this first episode dedicated to this new character. So that's why I'm thinking she has to play a major role in this anime, because they could have done so much more crazy stuff with it. They could have gone like all the way doing some crazy animation, because I know they have the budget for it. I know they can do it. I know they will do it probably in the future episodes. But it wasn't the case. It was a quiet episode, just an average episode, to be honest. Not the strongest, not the weakest. It was just an okay exposition episode, but that's about it. There's not much else to talk about what happened in this episode. So what I'm going to talk about is what I'm expecting to happen in the future episodes because I think that's where the true interesting part about this anime is. And I'm happy that this episode hinted towards Mob trying to become a better person, trying to learn new skills and new abilities. His psychic power will develop during this season, but his social skills will develop as well, and that's perhaps something that interests me even more than his psychic powers developing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see Mob developing in the future, but I also, for this anime, the reason I'm watching it, I want some crazy scenes. That's pretty much one of the best things about the first season, and I'm really hopeful. I'm really praying that they'll give us a lot of cool fighting scenes, because at the end of the day, I want to watch this anime and be amazed. I want to be mind blown of what they can do with all their talented staff and animators. I know they have the potential to make this anime one of the best one of the best animated shows of this decade. So yeah, this episode was a bit of a letdown, to say. I expected a bit more than average episode, but I'm hopeful that they're saving their budget for the future episodes. Normally when a new season starts, you want to make the first episode really leave an impact on the viewers, but this episode really didn't do that. It was just an okay episode, and like 6 or 7 out of 10, something like that. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good either. It was just okay. Some new characters were introduced, some future stuff, some future developments were hinted, but yeah, that's about it. So I don't really have any much more to talk about in this discussion, but hopefully next week, in the second episode of Mob Psycho, we'll have more to talk, because I'm really hoping there will be some crazy stuff going in next week. Probably we'll see some antagonists or some villains, some enemies, or maybe some kind of rival for Mob, whichever is good, but just give us some kind of plot, give us some story elements that we can start theorizing and talking about, because as of right now, there's just not much more that I can say or talk about. So anyway, guys, if you want to support this channel and want to support me and want to see my reactions 1 week earlier than everybody else, I have a Patreon page which you can go and become my Patreon. You also get to join my Discord club, so you even get to talk with me over Discord if you want to do something like that. But yeah, please do check my Patreon out if you want to support this channel. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, if you want to see more videos. But I've been Leo, I'm the professional weeb, and I'll see you in the next video. Sayonara.